Hi guys, good evening.
Hello.
How you doing, Donna? Are you feeling better?
Yes, I am.
All right, perfect. I'm glad to
Good
hear that.
evening. Good evening, everyone.
Hello, good evening. So I'm gonna give it just about 5 minutes and then I'm gonna jump right into it. We
Okie doke.
are doing the last part of this. I decided not to cover the state specific what is it? Laws pertaining to notaries public. That's something that you guys would need to do on your own. It's basically the same thing, just not broken down into layman's terms.
Okay. I think we're on online notarization.
Say it again.
No, I was saying I think we're on online notarizations, if I remember
Yes.
correctly.
We're going to start online notarizations and then we're going to do misconduct, fines, and penalties, and then we'll be done.
Okie doke. Bittersweet moment.
Yes, we're finally finishing this. And then we are going to, in November, I'm going to do the LinkedIn book by Bill Soroka. I'll show it to you guys.
He has a LinkedIn book?
Yes, he does. Let me show it to you.
I thought it was just Sign and Thrive.
Mm-mm. All right, so you guys want to be a part of that, here's the book. Supercharge your notary business with LinkedIn. Okay. I have mine via Kindle. So if you guys are interested in joining that reading, it'll be in November, date to be determined.
Okay. Now you're giving me something else to buy.
I have yet to read the book. I bought the book and I did not read it yet. So I'm looking forward to getting into it. He has another book that he just dropped as well, for those who don't know. I'm hearing stuff. Let's see. What is that beeping?
That's my phone. That's my
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna turn it off. 1 second. I'm sorry.
I just want to make I want to make sure it wasn't someone trying to talk to me in chat or something like that. Hi, Rhonda. Good evening. All right, 2 more minutes and then we're going to get started. I did let everybody know that tonight is the last night for the review. We're finishing up. And in November, we'll be doing a new book. All right, I can hear you.
Okay, I had to reset it. How are you?
Hi, doing great. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right, guys, 2 more minutes and then we're going to get started. We're going to be talking about, Rhonda, I don't know if you heard, online notarizations and then misconduct, fines, and penalties. That will be it. And I'm super happy that we did this because I hadn't opened it back up in a little bit. I was going over some Ron specific stuff, which is what we're about to get into right now. Just because somebody had asked me a question and I wasn't 100% sure. So I went right to my notary primer or primer, however you pronounce it. Hi, Teresa. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
All right. Awesome. We're going to be talking about online notarizations tonight and misconduct, fines, and penalties. And tonight is our last night for the primer review. And then before we leave, I'll try to remember to show you guys the new book for new people who are coming in. We're going to be doing a new book. Well, it's not new, but new to me reading it next month in November. All right, it's 9:05. Let's get started. All right, so everybody is turned to the section where it says online notarizations.
Yes, ma'am.
Or the question is, does everyone have that section? Because I know everybody's state is different. All right.
Have electronic notarization, so I'm assuming that's the same thing.
It's not unless they have a section up under there that's talking about online. Because electronic. Remember we talked about electronic. Oh no, I don't think you were here last Sunday, or were you?
No, because I
Yeah.
was sick. I wasn't feeling it also.
Okay. So electronic notarizations, it would be there, but we did discuss electronic. So now we're on online.
Okay, so then I have a small section that says remote online notarization.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So that's what we're talking about. All right. So I'm going to be reading from my Florida primer. So as of January 1st, 2020, Florida notaries may apply to be registered as an online notary. So we've only had this capability since January of 2020 in Florida. Once approved after the application process, an online notary public may notarize documents for any signer through the use of audio-video communication. The same elements of the notarization are still required, but the definitions of some of these requirements have changed. The most critical definition changes to personal appearance. Under the new law, personal appearance is defined as an individual's presence in front of a notary by being physically present or by the use of audio-visual communication. And then it has the application and registration requirements. So is everyone on tonight an approved online notary already?
I haven't done one, but I am.
You are approved. Okay. Anyone else?
I haven't done one, but would you know if you're approved?
If you applied, in some states you have to apply, and I guess in some states you're automatically one if you are a notary. So I don't know. What state are you in?
This is Ohio. So it says a notary that is currently commissioned as a Ohio notary and a resident of the state may apply to act as an online notary during the terms of their commission. So I guess I have to apply.
Oh, okay. So you do have to apply. All right. Yeah, it's the same in Florida. We do have an application and registration requirements. We have to increase our bond and we have to apply. And then there is a, I don't know how many, is it 1.5 hours or something like that, test that they want us to take. And you have to fill out the application, send in the $10 check, provide a copy of your bond being a minimum of $25,000. Your E&O insurance being a minimum of $25,000, and a copy of your test certificate and a copy of your actual commission certificate. You got to send all of that to the Florida Secretary of State. And then there is actually a separate directory for online notaries. So when you look us up, it'll show that we are a notary, but you have to look into the online. Sorry, guys, eyelashes. The online directory has approved online notaries listed there. So it's two different places for you to be able to verify somebody's commission. One regular commission, the other one online. Now for us, in order to apply, it says for Florida, you have to hold a current commission in Florida. Oh, it's 2 hours. It's right here in my face. Complete a 2-hour required course of study on electronic notarization. Identify the remote online notarization provider you will be using to perform online notarizations. Now, even though the platforms that are approved for Florida, even though we can't apply unless we have the approval letter, they still want you to list who you plan to join, what platform you plan to join on your application. Because I know a lot of people are like, well, I haven't applied for one yet because I'm not approved. Like, yeah, I know, but they want you to at least list one. Because the good thing is that we can always edit it. You could always contact our Florida Secretary of State and add. You can have as many as you want on the list, or you can even contact them to remove one. So they make that process really easy for us. It says we have to present proof of bond in the amount of 25,000, present proof of E&O insurance in the amount of 25,000, pay the registration fee. Same thing I just said, pretty much. So your e-notary registration runs concurrently with your traditional notary commission. You may apply to renew your ability to perform online notarizations within 3 months of the expiration of your traditional notary commission. And that's another good thing. So for Ohio, do you see anything in Montana too? Is there anything on there that says that your online notary will be reinstated once you apply to renew your commission, or is it a separate application? I'm just curious.
Let's see. For what to say? Wait a minute.
I don't see anything about that.
That's what I'm thinking too. I know, like you said, it's a 2-hour course.
It is. Oh,
And they-
okay.
Yes, 2 hours of education, testing provided. Disclosure of any or all license or commissions, revocation or professional disciplinary action against applicant. $20 fee.
Oh my goodness. It's $20 for you guys. It's $10 for us.
Yeah, $20, which must be paid by credit card only.
Oh.
It says if the applicant fails, she or he may retake the test no sooner than 30 days.
Okay.
No later than 6 months. Let's see. For notaries who are not licensed to practice law of the state of Ohio, the authorization to perform online notarization shall expire when their notary public commission expires.
Bingo. Okay. So when you renew your commission, your online gets renewed too. So it's not a separate process for you.
Correct.
Okay. Donna, what about you? What's your application registration requirements and then renewal?
You know, this book doesn't say anything about it.
My goodness.
Not a thing.
Montana, what the heck, Montana? What about your state handbook that you put offline? Because I know you probably use that more than you use your primer, huh?
Yeah, I do, because yeah, I can find a lot more in there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to look and see what. Let's see, give me a minute here.
Okay.
Notice mine in Ohio did not mention anything about the E&O insurance like yours did.
Really? What are your requirements?
I mean, it doesn't say anything about the requirements for the E&O insurance.
Okay, so just the bond. Do you have to have a bond? And what is it? How much
We
is
have
it?
to have E&O insurance, of course, but I mean, it doesn't say for this, for online.
Okay.
Let's
So
see. Now here's
would
another
okay.
online notary public renewal.
Oh, what does that say?
That one says $20 fee. Let's see, may renew their ability to perform online. It doesn't say anything about the E&O though.
Okay.
I probably have to look down further.
Now, as a commission notary in Ohio, do you have to have E&O insurance? I mean, will you?
At least 25,000 minimal.
Is it required or is it optional?
I think it was optional, but they tell you should.
Get down. Okay. Gotcha.
Okay, I'm looking in the handbook and stuff, and it doesn't say anything about what you're talking about. So
It doesn't
If it
have
does, I
any
don't know where it-
requirements for
Mm-mm.
online for you? No? Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, excuse me. I ate dinner, so I'm gonna be sleepy after this. All right. We're gonna move on. Location of notaries and signers during online notarizations. Now, for Florida, we can perform a notarization for anyone, no matter their location. But our location needs to be in the state where we're commissioned, which is Florida. So it says an online notary public may perform an online notarial act only if he or she is physically present in Florida at the time the online notarial act is performed. So, for example, if I was to be going, to Orlando, because I'm located in Broward. So Orlando is like 3.5, 4 hours away from me. So if I was to go there and I have my computer and everything, I can still perform my duties online because I'm still within my state and I'm commissioned in Florida. So I can perform notarizations for anyone throughout the whole state of Florida. And it says here, for Florida, no requirements for the signer's location, which is correct. An online notary public may perform an online notarial act for a signer that is located in Florida, outside of Florida, but within the U.S. or outside of the U.S. Now this is for outside of the U.S. If the requested notarial act is not prohibited in the jurisdiction of where the signer is located, and the notarial act concerns a matter that is before a court, a governmental entity, or another entity in concerns a property located in or relates to a transaction substantially connected to a territory or jurisdiction of the U.S. So, if we're going to be notarizing documents for people who are outside of Florida, that document should be being used here in the U.S. That's basically what it's saying. So, if somebody contacts you from outside the U.S. to notarize a document that they're not using in the U.S., then we can't perform that. Now, for Ohio and Montana, what is your location of notary and signer requirements during online notarization?
I'm looking now for Ohio. It says an online notary public must be physically located within the boundaries of Ohio at the same time the notarial act takes place. However, the signer may be located anywhere within the territory of the United States.
Now, what if they're located outside of the U.S.?
Well, it says, look like it says located anywhere within the territory of the United States. So
Okay.
sounds like to me it can't go out without the United States, correct? When
It
it
doesn't
says,
have like a or outside of the U.S. if.
no, it just says online notary
Oh,
must be physically located within the boundaries of Ohio at the time that the notarial act takes place. However, the signer may be located anywhere within the territory of the United States.
okay. What about you, Donna, from Montana?
Looking.
Okay. So I'm pretty sure for yours, it's going to be a little tricky because you have those boundary states, right?
Yeah, we have North Dakota and Wyoming.
So my question would be, can you physically be present in any of those states while performing an online notarization?
That is something I would have to find out for sure, because
Okay.
I know we have to be in our state. We can't go out of the boundaries. I know that
Mhm.
and do it. We
Okay.
have to be within the boundaries. So I possibly could, but I don't remember hearing anything about those outlying boundaries. So
Hmm.
I would
And
have
then
to
another
double check
question,
that.
can you perform notarizations for people who are located outside the U.S. if their notarizations pertain to business within the U.S.?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. All right.
See, that's interesting to know because even though mine said sounds like I have to be physically in Ohio, but I can accept anywhere within the United States, correct?
Yes. Mhm. That's usually the case. You need to be located, the notary needs to be located in their commission state, but the signer does not have to be. The signer can be anywhere, like you said, within the US.
Okay.
Mine says it can be within the US or outside of the US, but it has stipulations for outside of the US.
Okay.
Now, for Florida, it says acts that are authorized to be performed online: taking an acknowledgement, administering an oath or affirmation, executing a jurat, and any additional acts approved by the Department of State. So we can perform most acts online as a Florida notary.
Okay.
The fees for online notarization in Florida, for Florida notaries, cannot exceed $25. Now,
There's 25.
the question is it the online notarization is 25, or is it the Online Notarization Act is 25? That's my
So
question.
when you say the difference between that and the act,
Mm-hmm.
per or just the online, I didn't quite get that.
Yeah, so I'm curious to know if, and I'm going to contact Secretary of State because I wanted to know, because I've heard mixed feedback on it. So it says that the online notarization cannot exceed $25, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it does not say, okay, is that $25 per act performed, or is it $25 per session? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I've heard it both ways, where it's $25 for the session, but you can charge for additional documents, which would be a separate line item on your invoice. But then you have some, it's like, well, it's $25 per document. It's like, I don't think that's what that means, because that would be a lot. You know, I'm paying you $25 per document that you notarize. I don't think that just doesn't sound right to me. So I'm going to get clarification from my state before I make a ruling on that, you know. How much does your state allow you to charge for online notarization?
Ohio said $25.
Okay, Donna?
25 is what I heard.
Oh, okay. All right. Moving on to electronic records. Record keeping is required here in Florida. It says an online notary public must keep and maintain one or more electronic records of online notarizations he or she performs. The journal must be kept in a tamper-evident electronic format. The notary public must maintain the electronic journal or send it to a repository approved by the Department of State for at least 10 years after the performance of the last remote notarial acts recorded in it. The journal must contain the following entries: date and time of the act, type of act, title or description of the recording being notarized. Of the record being notarized. Electronic signature of each principal, printed full name and address of each principal. If identification of the principal is based on personal knowledge, a statement to that effect. If identification of the principal is based on satisfactory evidence of identity, a description of the evidence relied on, including the date of issuance or expiration of any identification credential presented. If identification of the principal is based on a credible witness or witnesses, the name of the witness or witnesses. If the notarization was not performed at the online notary public's business address, the address where the notarization was performed, a description of the online notarization system used, the fee, if any, charged by the notary, name of the jurisdiction in which the principal was located at the time of the notarization, and lastly, recording upon which the identification of the principal is based as required under Division D3 of the section. So it says that for Ron, we do have to have an electronic journal. And if you are an online notary, you do know that all of the platforms usually have included in it an electronic journal. So it's not anything that you would have separate like you would with your paper journal. So that's cool. because that way you don't have to record anything. It literally records everything for you. All you're doing is performing the notarization and then, getting off. So what is you guys' electronic record requirement?
Mine in Ohio said the same thing that you were reading,
Okay.
word for word.
Oh, okay, cool. What about you, Donna?
All mine says is the RON platform creates an electronic journal entry for the notarization. The notarization is recorded using audiovisual technology. The notary must securely store the recording along with any other journal information required by state law.
Okay. So whatever the online platform records, then that's what's going to be in your journal.
Exactly. I'm not liking the book very well. Not giving me info.
And they're like, it's cut and dry, Donna.
Plain and simple.
All right, let's see. Maintaining records. You must keep and maintain an uninterrupted and unedited copy of the recording of the audio video communication in which the online notarization was performed. The recording must include all of the following: appearance by the principal and any witness before the online notary public, confirmation of the identity of the principal and any witness, a general description or identification of the records to be signed, at the commencement of the recording, recitation by the online notary public of information sufficient to identify the notarial act, a declaration by the principal that his or her signature on the record is knowingly and voluntarily made, and lastly, all the actions of spoken words of the principal, notary public, and any required witness during the entire online notarization, including the signing of any records before the online notary public. So that is everything that needs to be included in each recorded session for Florida notaries. What about you guys? Ohio and Montana.
Mine sound just like yours too on that one.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
Mine is pretty much, to sum it up, they've touched on the basics, and to learn the qualifications and technology requirements for becoming RON in your state, please visit your state commissioning authority website.
All right.
So they refer me to the state.
Okay.
NSA offers a RON course now, or somebody I saw recently.
Yes, they do. I took mines with them.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I know the loan signing system, Mark Wells, I think he's doing it now as well.
Okay. Yeah, you take the state approved RON course, and then you're going to have a certificate that I'm assuming, because I'm for Florida, so I'm not sure for Ohio, but you would need to include that with your application, the certificate that you passed the educational course.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, here, you must take reasonable steps to ensure security of the electronic records, maintain a backup record, and protect the electronic records from unauthorized use. If the electronic journal is lost, stolen, or compromised, you must notify the proper law enforcement and the Department of State within 7 days after discovery of compromised records. What about you guys? How are we reporting in other states?
I'm looking on that one.
No, I have nothing on any of that. So
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
No,
And that
oh my
is
goodness.
what's compromised, right? Is that what you just read?
Under maintaining records, it was saying how you have to report if that electronic record has been lost, stolen, or compromised.
Okay.
And Donna, you said yours doesn't tell you anything for reporting.
No, unless it's further in the book somewhere. That everything is so sporadic throughout that maybe it's somewhere else in here that I'm just not seeing.
Mm.
Right with your one right there. Sounds like Florida spells this out all the way. Because mine just talked about you must create and maintain a record of the audio video communication notarization, as well as a backup of electronic journal and audio
Oh,
recording.
okay. Okay.
You must use a party and store the electronic journal and recording. Secretary of State must be aware of the location of these electronic journals and recording.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. All right. So next we have identifying signers remotely. So proper steps to identify signers remotely for Florida. An online notary public must verify the identity of the signer appearing at the time of the notarization remotely. Their identity may be verified by personal knowledge of the signer or using the following three-step procedure. Ask the signer to present a government issue identification, credentialed through live video technology, such as a driver's license or passport, and compare the ID to the information provided to you by the signer. This is when you ask the signer to hold their ID up because they already have to take a picture on the platform, but you still want to have them hold that same ID so you can kind of compare, like, okay, is this the same ID that you took a picture of to show me so that I can identify you? And I always have them show me the front and the back. Then next, it says submit the image of the ID presented remotely by the signer to an online service that performs a credential analysis on the ID and returns the result of the analysis to you. This is something that you will see once you enter into the session. That's the very first thing that you want to verify before you start trying to notarize the document. You're verifying the ID and the results of the analysis because it may not pass. It may say fail, okay, for whatever reason. And that way you don't want to move forward. Then lastly, here for Florida notaries, it says have the signer successfully answer identity questions formulated from public and private data sources, and that meets any rules or regulations adopted by the Department of State. So this will be called knowledge-based authentication questions, where it's going to ask them questions only they should know the answers to. Now, the reason why this sometimes is not good is because if you have close people who know a lot about you, they may also know the answers to those questions. So it is really preferred to have the credential analysis because it verifies the facial features with the ID features, the face on the ID. That way it'll say like, okay, this person passed, like on my ID. For those of you who didn't know me before I had my locks, I had a short fade and I had a fade for about 4 years, I think 3 or 4 years. And my ID still has my short fade. So when you see the picture, it's like, okay, you have no hair here and now you have hair. But I guess it still can identify the features of my face compared to the face that's on my ID. So that's what the credential analysis does. And then it also picks up those security features that are on the IDs because, you know, for people who make IDs, they may not be able to copy the exact security features, and the credential analysis is supposed to be able to pick up on that. So, all right. What about Ohio and Montana?
Yeah, mine in Ohio, the book talks about the credential images,
Okay.
and it talks about the a notary is responsible for the signer properly identified. The notary will rely on a third-party platform.
Okay.
It's about the answering the 5 questions: personal history and identity, and formulate a public and private data. Each question is a minimum of 5 possible choices. Answers. All questions are to be answered within 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
If the individual fails to attempt, they can retake it in 48 hours. I thought I saw somewhere though, I guess it's called credentialing analysis, like you mentioned.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So it has all that. It gives a list of all of that.
Okay. What about you, Donna?
I know for us, what it does say, signers generally are identified through a combination of two or all of the following: the knowledge base, credential analysis, and remote presentation. But I also know here in Montana, we can do biometrics as an identity verified.
Good. Yeah, I'm gonna buy me a new primer because they have updated some information. And mine's I purchased in 2020, so some things may be outdated. It's not a whole lot of outdated because it wasn't a whole lot that they added. So, but I still want to have one, and I'm gonna buy it from my Florida Notary Association instead of the NNA. Nothing against them. I just think that the Florida Notary Association, theirs may just be more specific. All right, so continuing on, it says if the person for whom the online notarial act is being performed is identified by one or more credible witnesses. One, the credible witness must appear in person before the online notary public and needs to be identified by either personal knowledge of the credible witnesses or all of the following: presentation of a government-issued ID, including a passport or driver's license that contains the signature and photograph of the credible witness, credential analysis of the ID document provided, and identity proofing of the credible witness. So can you guys use credible witnesses for online notarization in your state?
So it says oath or affirmation of a single credible witness who personally knows the individual, either is personally known to the online notary public or who is identified by the online notary public under the rule of this section.
What about you? I'm about to say Montana.
So
Donna.
So what are they saying that I can have a credible witness, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Known to
And that you have to make sure you ID them.
Okay.
Yes. Now that's really something though. Like, I have not done a credible witness online notarization yet, but how would it be done is what I'm wondering, because I don't remember it saying anything when they get ready to log in on, like, so when you do an online notarization, it does ask you what ID you're producing. So I don't remember how it looks if it's credible witness. That's something that I would have to look into just to see how it looks, because it is helpful to be able to tell your customer how to do things when they're looking at it. Like you want to see it from their view versus your view. So that's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Donna, what about for you? Can you do credible witness for online?
I think I remember them saying that we could. I just don't know how it's done.
Yeah, that's me too. I'm like, how would that be done? Okay.
You had one when you've done any notarization? Have you ever?
Sorry, what was your question?
Have you ever had to have a credible witness when you do notarization?
For in person, yes. Online, no.
Okay.
All right. So now we're on completing an online notarial certificate. So requested elements in notarial certificates for Florida: the jurat or certificate of acknowledgement. Gosh, I can't talk. And that's probably because I didn't bring my water up here. My tongue is sticking to the roof of my mouth. Must contain the following elements: venue stating the location of the notary public at the time of the notarization the format, state of Florida, county of. The type of notarial act performed, an oath or an acknowledgement, evidenced by the words sworn or acknowledged. Then whether the signer personally appeared before the notary public at the time of the notarization by physical presence or by means of audio video communication. The exact date of the act, the name of the person whose signature is being notarized, the specific type of identification the notary public is relying upon in identifying the signer, either based on personal knowledge or satisfactory evidence. The notary public's official signature, the notary public's notary name must be typed, printed, or stamped below the signature, and the notary public's official seal affixed below or to either side of the notary public's notary signature. So what about you guys for completing an online notary certificate? What is it saying?
Ohio just says for electronic notary, notarial acts performed by online notary using audio video communication for a principal not in the online notary physical present, the notary certificate form in section revised code may be used if the form includes a statement or something similar. This certificate pertains to an electronic notarial act performed with the principal appearing online using audio video communication.
Okay.
Oh, it says
What
for the certificate forms.
Okay, Donna, what about you? Uh-oh, what happened? You guys? Oh, okay. All right, what about you,
I'm
Donna?
here. I just looked because it just gives a table showing the traditional, the in-person, and the remote. And I'm not finding anything except for under certificate, signatures, and seals. In most cases, the customer signs the electronic document with electronic signature. The notary signs the notary certificate with an electronic signature and fixes their electronic seal. It's like, okay.
So it's not telling you how your certificate should be when you complete it.
Yeah.
Sheesh. Okay.
That's what I say.
So this is where it will be super important that you are well versed on your general notary duties, which you are. So you won't have any issues with the online part. Now here it says the notarial certificate must also, for Florida, include a statement that reflects how the act was executed, either an electronic document signed in your physical presence or signed through an online notarization, in which for Florida, they do have that statement already pre-populated in the platforms that are approved for our state. So we don't have to remember to put it, but it's important to remember to put it, you know, because what if you are on one of those new platforms and they don't have the statement already there? So it will be hard because, like for me, I remember to do it because I see the statement. But because I've been doing it for a while, I also remember it because I know it has to be there. But what if you were solely relying on seeing that statement already pre-populated? You may forget. So definitely want to remember that for Florida. We have to put that statement there before we complete the notarization. Now here, on the second page, it just has copies of the wording for an acknowledgement and jurat for Florida. So we already know what those look like, so I'm going to keep going. Next is the electronic signature and seal part here. Now, for Florida, you must sign the certificate for an electronic act with your electronic signature. An electronic signature is an electronic symbol or process attached to or logically associated with an electronic document and executed or adopted by a person with the intent to sign the electronic document. Although not an exhaustive list, an electronic signature must be attributed or uniquely linked to the electronic notary, capable of independent verification, retained under the electronic notary's exclusive control, and linked to the electronic document to which it relates in such a manner that any subsequent change of the electronic document is detectable. So what does it say for you guys for the electronic signature and seal?
For Ohio, you read word for word. It was in my book.
Okay.
I had the same
What about
thing.
you, Donna? Okay, good.
I read you what mine said.
Oh, right. That's right. Yeah. Because you didn't have the other part.
Not it. No, you got about all I have now of what mine says about all that stuff.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I got like 2 paragraphs and that's it.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Oh, here, notify an appropriate law enforcement agency in the Department of State if any unauthorized use of or compromise to your official electronic signature within 7 days after discovery of such unauthorized use. Then it says for our electronic seal, every electronic notary act must include an electronic seal. It will consist of the graphic image of your traditional notary seal and will be attached to or logically associated with the signature. The online notary's name as shown on your commission. So it's basically a replica of your physical stamp, guys. And this is for Florida. The words Notary Public State of Florida, the notary's commission number, and commission expiration date. What about Florida? Not Florida. What about Ohio and Montana?
I don't see anything about the.
Our seal is the same as our stamp. It looks
Okay.
exactly like our stamp.
Okay.
Yeah, mine said electronic seal and signature, and then everything you read the first time around was up under that.
Oh, okay.
That.
All right. All right. So we are done reading about online. Let's talk about misconduct, fines, and penalties. And this is our last section. All right. So here it says maintenance of commission. So for Florida, application misstatement. What does that mean? Significant misstatement or omission in the application for a notary commission is reason for the governor to suspend a notary's commission. Commission name. A person may not apply for a notary commission in a name other than his or her legal name. A person applying for a commission must submit proof of identity to the Department of State upon request. A person who violates this provision is guilty of a felony of the 3rd degree. Ouch. So when they ask questions about, can I be commissioned in any other name? No, you cannot. Florida does not play that. What about Ohio and Montana?
What was the name of that you were saying that was under?
Maintenance of commission. And then the first part I read up under application misstatement.
Maintenance of commission. Interesting.
You don't have that section?
No,
Oh, wow.
maintenance of commission.
What's the first paragraph you have in misconduct, fines, and penalties?
Misconduct. See, I don't even have that. So I'm gonna look in the back and see if it's under. Oh, misconduct.
I have misconduct,
Okay.
and the categories are state laws vary, false certificates, false personal appearance, false identity of signer, false date of notarization, other certificate errors.
Okay.
I did find mine. It was few pages ahead.
Oh,
This
okay.
Fines and penalties.
Mhm.
Notaries in Ohio are forbidden to do any of the following: perform an notarial act with regards to a record or document executed by notary, notarized by notary owned signature, take a notary owned position, disposition. The list of things that you just read, I think.
Okay.
Use
Then
a,
I also, oh, go ahead.
Mhm. It just says username or initial and sign a certificate other than by which notary public is commissioned.
Okay. You know what's funny? So when I became commissioned, that was the only time that I've had to use my middle name, right? And people told me, like, you don't have to use your middle name, but I was scared. I'm like, well, it says in here though, like I may not apply unless I'm using my legal name, and my legal name is my first, middle, and last name, right? So after I became commissioned, I had to learn and train myself to start signing my middle name.
Mhm.
Now, when I'm signing my name and not doing notary work, I'm automatically signing my middle name now. It's so funny. Like I can't sign my name without signing my middle name now. But before I literally would sign my name first and last. And then because my first and last would be so close, I couldn't put the middle in there. So I would have to line through it, put my initials, and sign my name again. It was so frustrating. So that's funny. That's just a funny
That
story.
is, that is. Middle
Now,
name. That's,
I,
that's
I
sure.
know. And my middle name is not long. It's just that I just never used it. Like some people use theirs, I just never used mine. So started using it as an adult. Now it says falsely acting as a notary. Any person who willfully acts as a notary while not lawfully commissioned is guilty of a misdemeanor in the second degree. Also guilty is a notary who knowingly acts as such after his or her commission has expired. So yeah, if your commission is expired, we should not be notarizing documents. And I'm pretty sure that's not just for Florida. What does it say for Ohio and Montana?
It's a whole list of things here. I'm just going through it.
What do they specifically have in there to make sure that you're not acting as a notary if your commission is expired?
Mine doesn't.
No? Oh my goodness.
Nope.
You spell it out like yours.
Oh man. You know, I think that the process or the thought that other states have is that some stuff is self-explanatory. I'm really just starting to think that. Like, I guess they would figure, and I guess in Florida, they just realized that, you know, we're one big melting pot, and some things that may be standard common sense may not be standard common sense to people of different cultures. So maybe that's why ours is so thorough, because we have so many different cultures here. People.
I was just there a couple months ago. My
Oh, really?
daughter lives in Haines City. She just built a house in
Oh,
Haines.
never heard
That's
of
near
it.
me. That's right near me.
Okay, Davin, Haines City.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, she's
Well, you were.
5 minutes away from Orlando.
Oh, okay. So it's a suburb off of Orlando, then, huh? Or a suburb of Orlando,
Yeah, it's only taking
something like that.
It depends on the traffic. Yeah, I was just there for something.
Wow. Well, congratulations to your daughter. That's a big step.
Yeah, she moved from she's an Air Force. She's in the Air Force
Oh,
flight attendant for Southwest. And so
oh wow. That's awesome. Congratulations to her.
moved from Vegas. She's been in Vegas the last 5 years. She wanted to be closer to she just built her home in Florida.
Oh, that's so cool.
Just got to experience his first hurricane, which she was in
Oh,
San Antonio, Texas, and Southwest would not fly them to Florida. So she had to stay away for 7 days. And oh my God, the girl was so worried about her house. I mean,
man.
she's never gone through this before, and she's 34.
Mm-hmm. Man, yeah, I can see how she was scared. Like, oh my God, please don't let it go. You know, because we always think the worst when we think about storms. But like, people were calling me like, "Are you okay? Oh my God, you get out of there." It's like, you know, unless you live here, you really don't realize that the storm doesn't hit every area. You know,
Right.
like the storm just kind of has a mind of its own when it's moving around, you know. And me, I just got some high winds and rain, and that was it. I have a friend that was in another place and she didn't get no rain at all. So, you know, it just depends. And somebody told her, like, well, you know, it's not smart for you not to evacuate. And she's like, it's not smart for you to assume that I'm in an area that's going to get hit either. I'm like, oh God. So,
Florida is so big. I mean, we got hit because we're in Central Florida, and nobody in South Florida. It was just like you said, you guys got wind and rain, and a little bit of North Florida got hit too. So it's kind of like it depends on where you were, but it was mostly
Yeah.
from like the Tampa to Jacksonville area, to be honest.
Okay.
Right. So my daughter, they just lost power for 7 days.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, we did lose power for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, if you don't live here, you're not used to it, then you're going to just assume the worst. Like if you hear a hurricane is coming to Florida, then you just think that it's like a movie and that everybody is going to be affected, that the whole state is going to be wiped clean. And it's like, no, that's not how it works.
We think that here. But she
I
wanted
know.
to go back, but Southwest says no. So on the 7th day, they had to fly back 120 flight attendants.
Whew.
Piled up
My
in the
Lord.
plane. 13.
Wow.
I'm glad you got
Goodness.
time.
Oh, yes. Me too. Me too. All right. Let's see. Oh, okay. So here for Florida, failure to report name or address change. So a notary who fails to report a change of name, address, or telephone number is guilty of neglect of duty, and his or her commission may be suspended. Can you believe that? Commission will be suspended if you don't give them updated information of your name, address, or telephone number.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Does it say that for not Florida? Gosh. Does it say that for Ohio and Montana?
Let's see.
Mine doesn't, but as you were talking about, kind of given, expected to know that info and stuff.
Yeah.
I think the reason is this primer that I have is not specific for Montana. It's the U.S. notary primer because we don't have a primer for Montana. So a lot of that information for Montana, they're not really going to give because it's not
So
specific
it'll be in your
for
handbook.
Montana.
Gotcha.
See, mine says Ohio. Okay.
Yeah, so every state does not have its own state handbook pre-printed. It's more so on the website. Like she said, she'll more so use her handbook on her Secretary of State website than she would this primer.
Okay. Interesting.
And it's good that she knows that. Can you imagine not knowing?
That'd be awful.
Yeah. I know, right? Oh my goodness. Now here it says for Florida, failure to maintain a bond. Failure to maintain the required $7,500 bond as prescribed in the law is cause for the governor to suspend your commission. Now, of course, if you're an online notary, the bond is going to be the $25,000 minimum. Okay. And commission suspension. If the notary receives notice from the Department of State that his or her office has been declared vacant or the commission has been suspended, the notary shall immediately mail or deliver the commission to the Secretary of State and destroy the official notary seal. I know, right? So if you receive a notice then that your commission has been suspended, then you need to surrender your information and stuff. Makes sense. But what about Ohio and Montana?
It didn't say all of that on mine in Ohio.
No, mine doesn't give any of that info.
Okay. Now for these other ones for illegal and improper acts, I'm not going to read through them unless I think it needs more clarification, but I think that the titles are self-explanatory to what it's saying. So for Florida, an illegal and improper act, official misconduct. Okay, so I'm going to read this one. Commission of an act involving dishonesty, fraud, or intentional violation of any notary law is reason for the governor to refuse to grant, revoke, or suspend a notary's commission. Okay, so that makes sense. If you're not being truthful and honest and being a person of, the highest integrity, then of course. Next, notarization without appearance. We all know that the person needs to appear before the notary, whether it's face-to-face or if you can do online via video, but it has to be an appearance by the person that you're notarizing for. Another one, notary's own signature. Notaries are not permitted to notarize their own signatures. Okay.
Right, I put that in here.
All right. Beneficial interest. We should not be notarizing documents for which our names appear as the parties to the transaction. So, like in the group, I did see someone, they said that they were a part of the power of attorney, so they want to know if they can notarize it. No, you can't notarize it. You are a party in the transaction. Why would you notarize it? So no, that is a big no-no, because you are considered a beneficial interest, right? Notarizing for relatives. Now I know this is definitely different for every state, but for Florida, it does say that we cannot notarize for our spouse, son, daughter, mother, or father. But if my brother, cousin, or aunt or grandmother need me to notarize a document for them, technically I can, as long as I am not having any type of beneficial interest in the transaction.
Right.
Now I know for other states it is definitely different, but this is just for Florida. Now, Ohio and Montana, what are your restrictions on notarizing for family?
Ours the same, like you said, but I did my sister-in-law's one time, just the one time that she was having issues at work, but then said after that I'll never do it again. It just made me nervous.
Oh, okay.
Just made,
All right.
and so she ended up losing her job, and so she's suing them. So I would hate for her to receive money. I'm saying after I notarized for her, and she was staying,
Oh gosh.
but she had lost her job, you know. And
Yeah.
if
Oh
she
my
would ever say
goodness.
to my husband, "Here's money for letting me stay with you guys," you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
She ever?
Oh man.
I doubt if she will, to be honest with you. But
Yeah.
I just told my husband and her, because she's attorney too.
Oh goodness.
I told my husband I'd no more because it made me too nervous.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
the notarization that I did was just a letter that she had
Mm-hmm.
to somebody, another attorney, but she needed notarized.
Oh, okay.
Nothing dealing with funds or anything. But
Mm-hmm.
again, do it again. That made me too nervous. And I was reading
Understood.
over and over after that. So I told her that too. I was a little bit too nervous about it. So she understood.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's good that she understood.
So I'll
All
just keep
right.
doing family, period. And I'll have to worry.
Okay. Okay.
How are you about that? Doing family?
As long as I know I'm not listed, if I'm not getting anything from it other than, just notarizing it, I wouldn't charge them or anything. I just make sure it's not the people listed here, so it definitely depends.
Okay.
Donna, what about you in Montana?
In Montana, we are allowed to do it as long as we have no benefit in the whatever I'm notarizing, but they do highly discourage it.
Okay. All right.
Ohio say they discourage it too. You could do it, but we prefer you not.
Okay. And that's for any family member, even spouse, son, daughter, mother? You say yes?
Yeah, it's fine. They say it's
Wow.
fine, but they highly discourage it.
Okay. All right. And that's good to know, because when people ask in the group, people are so always jumping, no, you can't do that. It's like, but what state are you in? Like, because depending on what state they're in, they may be able to do it. All right. All right. So here, moving on. For Florida, mentally incapacitated. So of course, if you know that the document is mentally incapacitated, okay, you shouldn't be notarizing for them. Okay, flat out. And then certifying copies of recordable documents. A notary is not authorized to certify a copy that is a public record if a copy can be made by another public official. So like, I get asked this all the time: marriage certificates, birth certificates, death certificates. I cannot certify copies of those. You can actually receive a certified copy from the clerk office.
Mm-hmm.
A notary also may not certify a document that is a vital record. So yeah, that's what I just said. Those are considered vital records.
That's what
That's what they said for Florida. I was just about to say, any difference in Ohio and Montana?
it says. A notary must not certify that. A certified copy is verified exact duplicate of an original document. A notary may not certify that a document is either an original document or a true copy of another record.
Oh, so you can't do copy certifications.
It says certified copies. We can. Well, then it
can't,
says it's under unauthorized act. Well, if it's under unauthorized act,
That means you can't certify copies.
right. Certified copy is a verified copy. You see, a certified copy is a verified exact duplicate of original document. It's just letting you know what that is. A notary must not certify that a document is either an original document or a true copy of another.
Okay,
Request
so you can't do it then.
should be directed under agency. Yeah, this is up under the unauthorized act, just like
Okay.
in Ohio is not authorized to perform marriages.
Okay. Yeah.
Notary.
Okay. What about Montana?
Yeah, we can do the copy certifications, but not vital records. We are not allowed to do that with vital records.
Okay. Next, we have incomplete documents. That's self-explanatory. Should not be notarizing a document if it's incomplete. Or blank certificates. So, like, for example, if a title company wants you to perform a loan signing and they're like, hey, we put in an extra notary certificate. Can you just sign and notarize it in case we need to attach it to another document? No, I cannot. I need to know what document it's going to be attached to, and I will notarize it being attached to the document. I cannot notarize a blank certificate for you to use all willy-nilly. That's not how that works.
Crazy.
A false certificate. A notary who knowingly completes a false notary certificate or who falsely or fraudulently takes an acknowledgement is guilty of a felony in the third degree. It's punishable by a $5,000 fine or up to 5 years in jail. So a notary completing a false certificate, for example, if he or she signed and sealed an acknowledgement certificate indicating that a signer personally appeared when the signer did not, you can get in trouble for that. Okay.
Yep.
Signing false names. Remember, we could only notarize. No, I'm sorry. We could only sign in the name that we are commissioned in. Okay. Unlawful possession. Any person who unlawfully possesses a notary seal or any papers relating to notary acts is guilty of a misdemeanor in the second degree. Such conviction is punishable by a fine of $500 or up to 60 days in jail. Okay. Nobody want to do no jail time, so definitely don't want to, possess this stuff. If we are like your stuff being expired and you didn't renew, you shouldn't have any possession of notary stuff if you don't plan to renew. You gotta, what's the word? Yeah, I was looking for another word, but basically, yeah, turn it in to the state. All right. False or misleading advertising. The use of false or misleading advertising by a notary to represent that he or she has duties, rights, and privileges not given by law is grounds for the governor to suspend a notary's commission. Okay. And for Florida, they want us to make sure that we have this advertising statement. I am not an attorney licensed to practice law in the state of Florida, and I may not give legal advice or accept fees for legal advice. So if you're doing any advertising, for Florida, you may want to include that statement. I don't always include it with mine, but it is on my website right front and center as soon as you go on there. And then the unauthorized practice of law. Okay. We in Florida should not be giving any advice about a legal document. Okay. We should not be telling the person or like deciphering anything like, well, I don't know what this document is for. So we shouldn't be sitting there. Well, the document means this basically saying, Oh, okay, I'll sign it if that's what it means. No. That's unauthorized. We can't do that. They shouldn't be signing because of what we think the document means. Okay. They should be signing under their own understanding. All right. Florida, overcharging. Charging more than the legally prescribed fees is reason for the governor to refuse to grant or to suspend a notary's commission. I don't like how they word that because it doesn't, or you mean grant to and suspend, but whatever. Yeah, we should not be overcharging. Misrepresentation, commission of an act involving misrepresentation of authority or commission of fraud comprises neglect of duty and is grounds for suspension. So we should not be representing a notary if we're no longer a notary, or representing any other type of legal entity if we're not that. And then we must identify our signers, period. We have to identify them. If you don't know them, you need to identify them. We can't notarize for a person we have not identified them. What about in Ohio and Montana?
Oh yeah, I must identify them. Definitely.
All right. And then for Florida, I know it's different in other states. For Florida, we cannot have a copy or stamp made of our signature. Now, I do have a stamp of my printed name, but we are not allowed to have a stamp or copy of our signature to apply to documents. The only way this is allowed is if we are using the electronic notarization. So like for online, I do have a scanned copy of my physical signature to apply to the documents. But other than that, I should not have a seal with my signature where I'm just stamping documents with my seal. That's not allowed. What about Ohio and Montana?
We're not allowed to either.
Okay.
I don't think we're allowed, but I don't have it anyway.
Okay. Then it says here, signer doesn't understand. We just talked about that. We shouldn't be notarizing documents where a notary doesn't, where a signer doesn't understand. I've had that happen to me before, where I was going to leave. I had it wasn't one document, but it was a different type of signing where a person was selling, they were transferring property. No, they were selling land, no property, just selling land that they inherited. And the person was not agreeing with some of the stuff in the documents. So I told her, I'm not going to notarize this if you do not agree with or understand what they have in the document. You need to call the attorney that sent me. And then if you can't reach them, you're going to have to just tell them that they're going to have to send me back after they explained it to you. Luckily, the attorney did call back while I was there and we got it situated. But in that instance, I told them I would not notarize. And they're like, well, I'm sorry to waste your time. I'm like, don't be sorry. I'm like, it's just that I'm not going to put my name on something that you don't fully understand. And then later down the line, you tell them in court you didn't understand, or, because it'll be their word against mine. They could say, well, she was in a hurry, or we didn't want to waste her time, so we signed anyway. Nope, not me. If you don't understand, I'm leaving. You guys call me when you get it all figured out.
Right. How many years you been a notary?
Just 2.
Oh, okay. You do very well.
It'll be 3 in July. So
okay. Are you a long time?
Over 2 years? Yes.
Okay. Now, how long have you been a long time agent?
A year.
Wow. You know your stuff.
I think it's been a year.
You do it full time, all of this?
It's been 2 years. No, I don't. I'm part-time. It's been 2 years. I got certified through Notary to Pro in October of 2020. I became a notary in July of 2020.
Nice.
So it's been 2 years. Yes, it's been a little over 2 years for notary and 2 years for signing agent.
Okay.
Notary to Pro is awesome. I went through them too.
Yes, I love Notary to Pro.
Okay, well, that's good. Is that the lady? I can't think of
Carol Ray.
It's Carol Ray.
Yeah.
Carol Ray. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
great. I went through Mark Wells.
Okay, I took his class too. I did both.
Would you recommend doing both? 'Cause Mark's was good.
The reason I did both was to have access to both of their resources. They give access of resources to their students. So that's what I paid for.
Sorry.
It's all about having that access to their networks because they are connected to people that you want to work with. And those people who work with them only work with their students.
Right. That's true too.
So that's why I did both.
Mark
And it
and
was
them.
worth the investment.
Okay. Well, I was thinking about doing it because I did Mark's, and I'm embarrassed to even say this. It's been a year and I haven't done one loan signing yet.
Oh man. Yeah, you definitely want to keep your knowledge up on that.
Yeah. So I
Um,
was thinking about doing Vanessa's too, just to have it. I know Mark just had his thing out in Vegas. I would love to have gone to that, but
mhm.
I'm a registered nurse, so things got kind of heavy.
Oh yeah.
I'm an informatics nurse, so implemented a new electronic health record system, and we got so busy at work, it just took up a lot of my time because I work in administration.
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of traveling, so it just
Mm-hmm.
feels funny telling folks I haven't done anything, but I'm ready. I have everything, so I may go ahead and sign up for Vanessa's.
Okay. And Vanessa's is signing agent basis or notary to notary?
Okay, Vanessa, is it Terry? Her last name?
Yeah, Vanessa's notary to notary, and Kendra is signing agent basics.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, Kendra. I know Kendra. I follow a lot of them on YouTube.
Okay.
Great, thank
Or
you.
all of them are good. I recommend Mark Wills, Carol Ray, Vanessa, or Kendra. All four of them. Pretty good.
Vanessa gets that high pitched voice, and I'll be like, "Ooh, bring it down, girl." She is funny. Yeah, so I have to check them out.
Yes, definitely do that.
To Carol Ray, is it Carol? No, which one passed?
Carol did pass, yes.
Carol passed away, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
Her
Carol Ray's
daughter's
course
doing it.
is Notary to Pro,
Who
and
does
her course is nationally recognized.
Oh, okay. So her course was on video too, like Mark's.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, both of you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Are you're I forgot her name. Donna? Is that who's talking, or Angelique?
Oh, it's Stephanie.
Oh, Stephanie. Um, who did you go through?
I went through Carol Ray only.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Now who's Angelica?
Angelica.
Angelica, I'm sorry.
Angelica.
Who did you go through? Did you go through Angelica?
Who did I go through for what?
Did you do
Loan signing.
loan signing?
I don't do loan signing.
Oh, already. Thank you.
Donna also went through Notary to Pro.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
All right, you guys, we're about to wrap it up. So foreign language documents and signers, we do want to make sure that the certificate and documents are in English. And if they are translated into a language that the signer can understand, okay? If they don't understand and you don't understand, then hey, can't do it. And
Now,
then, go ahead.
If you have someone speaks a different language and they have an interpreter there, won't that be kind of hard though? You have to really
for Florida, we cannot use any third parties. All communication needs to be direct. So if I cannot directly communicate with the signer and the signer cannot directly communicate with me, I cannot perform the notarization. So I will refer them to someone who can speak the language and communicate with them.
Okay, perfect.
Now, correcting certificates. Excuse me. A notary in Florida may not change anything in a notary certificate once the notarization is complete. State officials consider a notarization complete when the signer leaves the presence of the notary after having a document notarized. And then it does say here in our primer to see correcting certificates on page 49. Then it further says, of course, our seal is our exclusive property. Doesn't matter if you are a notary because of an employer, that seal and commission is yours, not theirs. And then it says acknowledgement in lieu of oath. A notary may not take an acknowledgement in lieu of an oath if an oath is required. So if an oath is required and they're also asking you to administer an oath, Florida notaries, we are doing both. We're not doing one or the other. Now, liability and investigation. So liability for damages. We are liable for damages and can be sued if we did not take due diligence in performing the act. If we have followed all of the steps necessary to perform the act and it cannot be proved in any way that we intentionally did anything wrong, then we may or may not be sued. Okay. And that is why we have the bond. Okay. The bond protects the customer, not us, though, unfortunately. Employer liability for Florida. If a notary's official misconduct causes any individual to be financially damaged, then the notary's employer may be liable to the person for all damages if the notary was acting within the scope of his or her employment at the time. Oh. What about Ohio and Montana? You guys have any stipulations for that?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I can't see anything here.
Okay.
And what was that under?
Under liability and investigation. And then our very last section, complaint and investigation. Every state has a way for a customer to complain, okay? So we should be making sure that we are practicing due diligence at all times. Make sure you are very well aware of the allowances in your state. This is why we are reading this book. And for some people, I don't know about you, but for me, sometimes I have to read things more than once. That's why I'm reading this book again with you guys. I've read it a couple of times already, but it's always important to go back through it because if you're not performing everything in here, you can forget. You're human. So it's important that you know what you can and cannot do. And if there are any changes made, you definitely need to make yourself aware of them. Okay. All right, guys, we are done. That's it. That's a wrap. So how'd you guys feel about that? Getting
Very
familiar.
great.
I know, right?
Very
It just helps to
good.
get familiar with this little book. I'm going to buy a new one. So this is mine here for Florida. I'm going to purchase a new one, like I said. Now, before you guys go, I want to show you for November, we're going to have a new book that we're going to be reading. You can join if you like. This is the book, so you have time to get it. It is Supercharge Your Notary Business with LinkedIn by Bill Soroka and Sandra Long. Okay. I have this on my Kindle app on my iPad, but you can definitely purchase the book off of Amazon. And I think the NNA has it too. Okay, so we're going to be reading
he
that.
just posted the link. Like, I missed it for his birthday last week. He was giving it and his other book away for free.
I saw that.
Well,
I was
with
so mad. I saw it the day after it expired.
Dang.
with the
I don't check my emails every day.
with the
You say you
Amazon
don't?
Kindle, guys, I just purchased it. I did the Kindle Unlimited subscription. They have a thing going on where you can get 2 months for $5. So if you do that, and then you could cancel it after 2 months if you want to, you'll get the book for free.
You guys hear that? And you
Yeah.
don't have to have a Kindle. You can just have a Kindle app.
No, yeah, you just need the Kindle app because I have it
Yeah,
on my
because
iPad.
exactly. I have an iPad here and I just have the Kindle app. Okay, so it's right here.
And you said it's called
My little
Super.
Kindle app. I don't have a Kindle.
I might do that then.
Oh, let me
but
put
I
it back
kind
up
of
here.
like to have the book so I can have it in my
Here.
hand to take notes and stuff. But
Okay.
I might do that too. So thank you for sharing that. But I was
Oh, yeah,
excited.
you're
'Cause I was
welcome.
like, wait, it was free. And I was like, who doesn't
Can
like free stuff, right? I was like, oh man.
you see it, Teresa?
Yeah, it's kind of faded, but it's called Supercharged something.
Supercharge Your Notary Business by LinkedIn.
I just put LinkedIn and Bill Soroka. It'll come up.
Okay, I can do that too.
Okay, so this will be for next month, guys. So you have plenty of time to get it if you don't. And for anyone who is watching this recording after the fact, that's going to be the next book. So people won't be saying, what's your next book? That's the next book we're going to be reading. All right, guys. So thank you so much for joining with the Notary Primer review. I hope that it was helpful to you because it was helpful to me.
Sure.
You guys have a good night. And I will make sure I put out the link for the next one once I decide what date I want to start reading the new book.
Thank you so much. Thank you for doing this.
You're welcome, guys. Have a good night. Bye.
You too.